What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 21 of our Wolves career mode, and today we start on the transfer budget. As you can see, it's a whopping £140 million, and then we have £380,000 in wage as we start off the new season. We're not going to be playing any games today. I believe today will all be transfer stuff, and then perhaps we'll play the Community Shield and do a little bit of stuff next episode. We are going to go ahead and just sim through this preseason game really quickly. But, oh, what have I done here? No, I just wanted to quick sim. I hate the... always messing that up. But, £140 million. There are places we would like to upgrade. There are a couple players coming back from loan we need to assess. It is going to be a... It is going to be one of those summers where a lot is going to happen, whether, we buy some stars, whether we, buy some depth. It's going to be day by day, minute by minute, as we try and figure something out. We're going to take a look at the squad here and take a look at the players we've listed in the transfer hub as well. Players we're, on the list so we can bring in as interest has been put in Torres. So, this is the squad, and we have a couple things here. I want 5 wingers total, so 2 on each side and 1 who can play both sides. Potence and Neto can play both sides, and then we have Traore as well. That is 3. I would like 2 more. Whether it's a starter at left wing or a backup at right wing, we'll see. I'd like one of those starters there, and then I think we're going to try and go for Buta, who can play right back and right wing. And he could be a really good option off the bench to come in for Semedo or Traore at either point, really. And then along the back, we are good at left back. We are going to be good at right back. And then at center back is something we feel we can upgrade in. We might be able to. We got Bully, Connor Cody, and then we have Den Donker. And Marcel can play there. I would like to add another. Saiz can play here as well, but I think we can upgrade here. If you take a look at Bully, it doesn't really show it here just yet, but he is up there in age. Connor Cody, not necessarily up there in age, but at some point we are going to get a little bit thin there, I think. So bringing in a center back who can jump in and start is a really good option. We're good at striker with Silva and Jimenez, and then of course Neto can play there if we need him to. And then in midfield, we lost Loftus-Cheek because on loan. So we might bring him back in. It depends. I'd like to bring in a CDM who could come in and start. Saiz, of course, a great player, and so is Den Donker. But someone who's really, really good there would be excellent. And then we would, at the moment, we have Moutinho, Saiz, Neves, and then Vitinho and Lucas. We have 5 players for 3 spots. I tend to really be comfortable around 7 players for these 3 midfield spots. So perhaps bringing in 2 midfielders is what we may, end up doing. Of course, Loftus-Cheek is someone we're looking at, though he'll be turning 26 very, very soon. And I'm not sure how much better he is going to get. Or he's 25, he'll be turning 26. And at 50 to 70 million pounds, that's quite a bit of money. So we'll hold off. But for now, we're having a couple players here. At right wing, Diego Lainez, Holzek, someone I've always wanted to play with, but Sparta Prague never really sell him. And then this one is a Portuguese youngster, though he's more of a really good wonder kid. I'm not sure if I want to go for that just yet. Jeremy Doku, Mbuemo, who can play right wing and striker. Marcus Edwards, of course, the former Tottenham man, though he seems a bit expensive for what he is. Sessegnon on the left, who can play left wing and left back. Probably a little bit expensive for what he is. Jeremy Boga's a really good player, someone I'm looking at a little bit. As you can see, they want between 31.2 and 31.9. They're really into it. St. Maximin, someone at the moment is my leading candidate to bring in. That would be an excellent buy. Giancarlo Guedes, of course, Portuguese. Can play left mid and striker, though a little bit expensive perhaps. And then Diego Rossi, someone who can play on the left and the right and at striker, though they don't seem selling him. As for midfield, if we possibly bring in a couple, we've got Matty Longstaff here from Newcastle, one of those players who can come in and, be one of those players who likes to work his way in. Rene Adelaide, a really good player, of course, can play on the right wing spot as well. And Mikel Merino at Newcastle, seen his career turn in the upward direction. Those 70 million might be a little bit much. And then at center back, we have quite a few options here as well. Juan Foyth, Tomori, Kabak, Pau Torres, Jonathan Tah, who's still at Leverkusen. Rudiger is a really good option, though 28. Rudiger is a good option, but I'm not sure if he's one of those players we bring in and, to play. We'll see. And then we have a couple players at CDM. Guendouzi, someone Arsenal are looking to get rid of. Koopmeiners, a really good player who can play center back as well. We'll see how that comes back. Sander Berge, Soucek at West Ham, Dennis Zakaria, and then we have a couple players down here which we looked at last year. Of course, Harvey Elliott, someone we may possibly bring in, is still at $3 million. That's probably a little bit unrealistic. I'm not sure what's gone on with his contract there. Buta, someone we're definitely going to try and bring in between 19 and 28 million. And Fiorentino Luis, a really good option at CDM, 21 years of age, Portuguese, fits the bill, doesn't he? That'd be a really good option. And then Lete Ferro at center back. And a couple other players here, Dan James, Thomas Lamar, Tammy Abraham, Lucas Torreira. These are all players we looked at last year, of course. So there are some good options here. A couple from Sporting who look good. Renato Sanchez, of course, also looking good. So there's a lot to choose from. But for the moment, we are going to try and bring in that right back, right wing maestro here, Aurelio Buta. He's 24, 78 overall, between 19 and 28 million. We're going to take a look and see if we can bring in our first signing of the window. And then that will really cover that right back and right mid spot. It would be a perfect player for the bench. I'm not giving up on anybody. I'm not giving up on Hoover. Hoover, of course, a really good player. But having, a player who can come off the bench and play on either position on the right, it's a really good option to have. We'll try 24.9, see what they say. They are comfortable with that. So Buta, 24.9 million pounds. 24 can still grow. 78 overall, not too bad. Incredibly quick. Someone had mentioned him. I had never heard of this guy before. Someone had mentioned him over the summer. Originally. We'll see. So we do rotation. He's comfortable with rotation. That's excellent. Length of his contract. Can we get 5 years in here? Bring him till he's 29. He wants 3 years. All right, so we should be able to get 4. That'll be okay. He's good. He's good with it. Disregard release clause. He wants £55,000 a week. That's probably a little bit much, but, we'll see if we can lower it a little bit. All right, they're comfortable. He's keen to join. £49,000 a week. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. And we've bought in our first signing. As we have, there's interest in Pau Torres. That's okay. As we're going to bring in our first signing. And he's going to go right to the bench. This is going to be a really good place for him. And we have a couple of players to look at as well. We're going to look at him in just a moment. We're going to bring him on ahead of Hoover, who's still, as I said, going to play quite a bit this year. I'd like to get him more game time. So let's take a look at the squad, our squad already, and see if we can get a couple of things in and out here. Vinagre's on loan for another year. This lad, add to loan list. Giles, 66 overall. Marcel, we're going to keep. Catalano, another player who, we'll keep him on the transfer list because we tried to sell him last time. It didn't work out. Kilman, transfer list. Marquez, 18. He's on the loan list, and Dunker, we're going to keep all these. Tyson on the loan list. Sanderson, loan list. Rasmussen, he's 23 already. Oscar Burr, might just have to move him on. This guy as well. Terry Taylor. Vitinho is going to stay. Kundal is transfer listed. Moutinho, we might move him on depending on the offer we get in, if we get him in. Bruno Jordao back, though I think he needs another year on loan. 64 overall at 22 years of age. Won't cut it necessarily in this league. Diallo, loan list. Mills, add to loan list. Morgan Gibbs-White. This is a really interesting player. We might keep him around. We're going to keep him around for now. Campagna, add to the transfer list. And Patrick Catrone and Rafa Mir. Also players we're going to add to the loan list. Catrone's a pretty decent player, though. It does not seem he has a Wolves career. So, those are the players who are going to move out. We have plenty of money still. But, you know, as things come and go, we shall see. Monthly scouting update. Interest in Kabak from Frankfurt. Offer comes in for Semedo. Oh, I forgot to mention this. 105 million for Semedo. We are going to delegate, by the way. Let's see if we can get... We're going to start it at 174. If that bid comes in and it's a really good one, we might move him on. A bit surprised, but I can't say I'm unhappy about it. Can't guarantee you playtime. I definitely can't. I would like to get Fabio Silva really pushing forward, pushing Jimenez for that striker position. He had a really good year last year. Not too bad. So let's quick sim this. Is this the one we want to do? Quick sim? Or am I clicking on the wrong one again? Oh, quick sim. Alright, 2-0. Traore and Jimenez with the goals. Monero lost again. So that should put us through to the next round. Which would be a little bit more money, of course. And we have a lot of scouting reports coming in. A lot of players we can take a look at. But we'll take a look at it in a bit. So what we have to do is either we have to find one more winger. Either a backup for Traore on the right. Or a starter on the left. It's a little bit difficult. I'm really eyeing St. Maximin. That would be a really, really cool buy. But I have not 100% made up on my mind. It's kind of just coming and going as we go through. But let's jump to the end of this Toronto game and move ourselves into the next round. As an offer for Johnny has come in, an offer for Campagna. Chao Taffarel. I'm not sure who that is. And Valencia have offered 51 million for Johnny. I'm gonna reject that. Johnny's too good of a player. I'm not sure who Chao Taffarel is. View the exchange player. He's 29, 69 overall. Let's avoid that, shall we? Just gonna reject it. Pretend that didn't come in. What would make them think such a deal would be even on my mind? What in the world would that be? Alright, so interest in Pau Torres by Frankfurt. Campagna offer. That's not too bad. Couldn't reach an agreement. They're upset. That's fine. I will survive. And Campagna, 2.3 million. We're going to delegate this a little bit. Should get him off the books, though. 21 years of age. He's just not really going to make it, is he? And that happens. Happens to players. You got to be ruthless with some of these players, even if they come up with the team a little bit, but it's not much more you can do. As we beat Toronto 2-0, 2 more from Jimenez. We'll see if he could recreate the goal-scoring form of last year. It'll be very difficult. It was an incredible year last year, but you know, if he can continue to score goals, that would be ideal. So we got Porto in the semifinal. Of course, we have the Champions League this year. Something to look forward to. As Campagna's 2.3 million. They didn't really move on that, but we'll accept it. That's fine. I am comfortable with that. Get his budget off the, get him his wages off the budget, and then we added another 2.25 million in this tournament. And now we have Porto as a scouting report comes in. Well, let's sim our way through this. Quick sim. Are we going to beat Porto and move on to the final? 1-1. We lost 5-4 on penalties. Who missed the penalty? Penalties. Who missed? Lucas missed. And then Altavio and then Connor Cody missed as well. So 2 penalty misses in a row. A bit tough. Would have found Sevilla in the final, but It is what it is. We have plenty of money. I'm not too worried about that, though it would have been nice to move a little bit forward. Offer is coming for Saiz. 11 million. Tournament prize money. We got another 3 million from that. Monthly scouting report. Is there anybody in here? Ooh, he went to Leicester. I didn't miss him. This lad right here, we are going to sign as well. So we'll remove him as we go forward. So not too bad. Getting ourselves a player in. An offer's coming for Saiz. I'm going to ignore it because he will not be going anywhere. Too good a player. Too versatile to do anything about that. Now our first game, transfer talks have broken down for Campania. Our first game is going to be on August 1st against Liverpool, which is not far away. So let's take a look at some more transfer stuff here. Let's see if we can bring in a CDM. Well, we can take a look and, you know, have the CDM of our choice because nobody's really been approached. There are a couple of really good players here. Sander Berger, of course. Sheffield United in the league, in the Prem. Knows it a little bit, doesn't he? You know, he's pretty quick. 78 sprint speed, not the most agile or anything like that. Coop Myers, a player who's very well-rounded, not the quickest. Can play center back, of course. Good option to have. Guendouzi, very well-rounded, as you can see. And physically pretty good as well. Sushek, not the quickest, but all his other stats are really nice. 92 stamina, 84 strength, 80 reactions, 84 interceptions. It's a really good player there. And then Dennis Zakaria, pretty quick, isn't he? And he can play in midfield and at center back as well. There's some really good stats on here. 90 strength, 86 reaction, 91 aggression. I mean, those are really good stats. And then Fiorentino Luis, while not the most experienced, and still has a couple of things that are pretty raw, should grow into a really excellent player. His attacking stats not too great, which is a little bit unfortunate. But to me, this is between Guendouzi and Zakaria. Zakaria linked with Liverpool quite a bit recently. Over the summer, linked with quite a few players, or quite a few teams. They want 46 million for him. They want around that for Sander Berge, for Guendouzi. Guendouzi's probably the cheapest, a 42 million pound release clause. Looking to leave Arsenal by the looks of it. I think Guendouzi is the man. We are going to go in for Guendouzi. And of course, leaving Arsenal in real life, seemingly, or has to at minimum work his way back in. It'll be very tough. Probably try 36 million pounds and see what happens. That's a reasonable offer, they said. 36 million pounds for Guendouzi. That is not too bad. Pretty young. Not a player I particularly rate in real life. I think he's turnover prone. He likes to lose the ball quite a bit and kind of has rushes of blood to his head. But in game, this is a very good buy. And he's comfortable with rotation, even though he's going to start. So that's pretty good. So we can get 5 years on him. He's 22. He's comfortable with it. He's got quite a bit of hair, this lad. Comfortable with that. And then he wants 40. He wants a wage cut to come here. Of course, we will take that. As we thought he'd want a wage rise. But that's not too bad of a signing. Matteo Guendouzi in at the club. And up here, we're going to bring him, and we're also going to bring Morgan Gibbs-White up here. The rest of these lads look like they're on their way out. Guendouzi will come onto the bench. Not too bad. And once again, we have some good midfielders here. So we have, or Guendouzi will come into the starting lineup. So Moutinho, Neves, Guendouzi, and then Saiz, Lucas, Vitinho, and Gibbs-White. That's 7. We may bring one more in. But the midfield looking good, and we got a player who's going to sit at the back end of that. Looking very good. Guendouzi, of course. He'll need a little bit of time to really grow into the player a lot of people think he could be. But, you know, as we go, it'll happen. So, Fiorentina have offered a 3 million plus Polgar. I'm not sure who he is. CDM 78 overall. No. We are not in the market for that position. We're going to delegate this at this. No player swap. Excellent. This is what I want. We'll see what they say about Catrone. But some of these offers sometimes come in. They're very, very strange. And that one seemed pretty normal, as Liverpool have accepted a £61 million bid from Dortmund for Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez always was someone who played better than his rating and always turned out to be rather cheap. But that's quite a bit. He was someone I thought about putting on the list, though. He's the second kind of center back at Liverpool. If he ever becomes the third choice at Liverpool, then maybe that's the time to go for Joe Gomez. But off to Dortmund he goes as we approach the end of July and get near that Liverpool game. An offer is coming for Semedo, 99 million from Liverpool this time. They're going to pay 20 million Fiorentina. That's fine. We're going to get rid of that. Unfortunately, we're going to get rid of the Zakaria one. He's going to go to Bayern. That is a good buy. But I don't mind growing Guendouzi. That's no problem to me. We're going to negotiate or delegate this. We'll just do it at 150 and see what happens here with Semedo. Semedo's a player that is, to me, replaceable. Someone we can go out and find a really good right back. And to bring in all that money, I mean, how could you say no? As an offer is coming from Manchester United to take Lucas out on a 1-year loan deal. What in the world is that? I don't think so. So that's one of those offers that comes in that's a little bit ridiculous. But, you know, those things happen. So we're getting toward the end of the day here. Negotiations have broken down. It is what it is. We are on strict transfers here. So, you know, it's not going to really change too much when we bring in huge return bids. So let's go for center back here. Jonathan Tah has just moved. We were talking about how he's never really moves from there, but there he goes. And then we need a winger and a center back, and then possibly one more midfielder. Farrell's pretty good. Letze gets really good. Rudiger, Pau Torres, Kabak. Juan Foyth would be a really good option, perhaps. More a realistic option. Tomori, 23, 77 overall. Torres has just moved. So Torres can come off the list. I can sort by position here. That'll be good. There we go. Center back at the top. Farrell, a really good option, perhaps. Not the quickest, as you can see. Liete. We got some slower-ish players at center back here. Tomori, 23 years of age, 77 overall. Pretty athletic, Tomori. Is Tomori the option? How much do they want? This player is currently out on loan and won't be available for a transfer negotiation? Very strange, considering he's at Chelsea, it says. Very, very strange. So maybe we bring in one of these players who plays center back, quote unquote. Maybe this is the player right here. He's so good all over the pitch, Koopmeiners. I think this might be the guy. This might be the guy. We're going to go for him. Koopmeiners, this is going to be a little bit weird. We're going to try and bring in between 29 and 37. Bring in a CDM and just convert him to a center back. He's already a center back. He's not the most agile or anything like that. But he can play all over the pitch, and that's very nice in games. We're going to just bid 30 million and see what they say. They want Lucas back. I'm just going to go ahead and propose another exchange player. What about Rafa Mir? Huh? Proposed new transfer fee. Rafa Mir, 14 million. We're going to go Rafa Mir and 25 million and see what they say. Oh. Okay, counter. So, remove the sell-on clause. 32 million. No players. How's that? Alright, look at that. Coop Miners looking to come into the club. Let's take a look at our contract negotiations. And then we're only really looking for 2 more players. A winger and then a midfielder. Dare I say rotation? Dare I? Oh, he's happy with rotation. What in the world? He's going to start as well at center back. Except the lack of a release clause. He's only on £11,000 a week at AZ. 20. Do we go to 40 million? Get him a pretty high bonus there. He's comfortable with it. All right, Coop Miners in at the club. And we've bought in another player. This one, another versatile player. We have a lot of versatile players in our squad. But this one, we're just going to swap out. Put Coop Miners back there. Bring Bully higher up the list here. Do we want to bring him onto the bench? I might bring him on the bench ahead of Saiz. I don't need 2 center backs who can play midfield as well. And then we are going to go ahead and go to Coop Miners right now. Go to his development plan and then make him a center back. And that should just help everything out. Make everything a little bit more comfortable. Comfortable for him. CDM, Coop Miners development plan. And then, of course, if Guendouzi's not available to play or anything like that, we can always move him forward. No problem at all. Center back. Shouldn't take long. 35 weeks is a little bit much for someone who can play center back. As I said, he's not the quickest, but he's good enough with the ball to move it around. He's good enough defending, as you can see, to move it around or to stand his own there. I think this is a pretty good option. He's only 23. He's going to improve quite a bit. And as I said, he can always just move forward in midfield if need be. That's not too bad. So at the moment, we are looking at £50 million in the bank. And then we are looking to bring in 1 more midfielder and then a winger, either a backup right winger or a starting left winger. One of those 2 options. Because if we're going to go on the left-hand side, we might as well, you know, in terms of the team, really splash the cash on the left side. On the right side, we don't need to replace Traore, and we don't necessarily need to replace Podence and Neto. But if we're going to go ahead and do those things, we might as well. As Catroni's been sold for 20 million, which is good. They're willing to offer Mario Gaspar and 16 million. Gaspar was an older, yeah, a bit older there. That is going to be a resounding no. I also like Den Donker. He is the perfect player to play 3rd option center back and 2nd option CDM. That is a really good option to have. Another versatile player. At CDM and center back, we have quite a few versatile players now. Saiz, Den Donker, Coop Miners can all move up into that CDM position. Cody can in reality as well. But, you know, in ideal circumstances, we wouldn't have to move someone like Connor Cody up. If we have to move Connor Cody into CDM, there is a serious problem. So, we have the Community Shield. That will come next episode. Tottenham have offered 34 million. Brentford have offered 9 million for Matty Longstaff. We are going to reject this offer. He will not be going anywhere, Den Donker. And we have one more thing to look at before we end this. I'll think about it. I worry that I'm not going to play Saiz enough this year. And as I just mentioned it is worrying, but, you know, we'll see. So next episode, what we are going to do is we are going to play our Community Shield and then try and bring in 2 more players in this position, in those positions we are looking for. And then after that, we will jump into the new season. We have 67 million pounds. We should be able to bring in 2 players in those spots. And then we'll have the Community Shield, and then after that we may jump into our normal 3-game schedule depending on what happens the rest of the window, guys. But that is going to be it. I hope you folks have enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more. And peace.